Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us my law partner David Nachman. David, welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael. Always a pleasure to be here.
I believe that earlier that you were telling me that there is one question relating to Indian passport or something that somebody has asked you. What is the question?
Yeah, well, we received a very interesting call this week, and it was from an Indian national who was interested in getting married and getting his papers done in the United States. And he didn't have a valid passport. The passport was outdated. And unfortunately, he was asked, we asked him, can you get an updated passport? And he said, I can't do it. And we said, why not? And he said, well, unfortunately, the consulate, the Indian consulate's not going to renew my passport. And so that really presented a very difficult position for us because he wasn't able to get married in New York or New Jersey. Michael, you and I were talking a little bit about this and trying to figure out what type of remedies, what kind of, what can this client do?
No, first of all, I'm glad you mentioned this question because I have also come across so many of other people who were not able to get their passport renewed because they don't have evidence of a legal status. And I'm not talking only about people who enter from the border, people who, even when they came a visa but they overstayed and are considered as undocumented aliens. And this guy probably came on a student visa also. So this is, the question here is also whether it is a person has a constitutional right or a legal right to get a passport renewed. And I would say, again, my touch with Indian laws are not as current as it should be. But as much as I know, the Constitution of India also gives a right to every Indian citizen to hold a passport. And I have not seen anything in the Indian Passport Act or anywhere where there is such a requirement. But maybe, again, once I'm saying, maybe there's some kind of policy decision that under which they might have made a decision. And I don't think even that could be probably the Indian consulate in New York or any place. Maybe it is coming from the ministry in India, Home Ministry or whatever it is, and the consuls may be following that particular guidelines.
Right.
So I don't know why it has happened, why it is happening, but it's not a bad idea because some community leaders were telling me that how we can resolve this. I think the best thing is take this matter up to the ministry, to the Home Minister, to the Prime Minister to see whether they will make, if there is such a policy, whether they will make a change in the policy. So that's the best advice I can give this person.
Well, what do you think is the reason behind why they wouldn't do it? Because it seems to me that if you have an Indian national and they're here, an Indian citizen, and they're here in the United States, and they are possessing an Indian passport, even though it's outdated, why not give them the opportunity? I know many other countries we have the same situation, but the embassies will grant new passports without a problem. So what do you think the problem is?
You are very correct, but I was told long time ago, I don't know, see, I'm not in touch with much of these things happening. Somebody had said the US government did not like by giving them renewals and issuing new passport. Maybe the US government doesn't like that because they consider this as kind of promoting or kind of making it easier for people to remain in the US illegally. So some kind of you can say some kind of, but again, what you said is correct.
Right.
No, more than that, I say more than that is this. Then I know a lot of consulates are issuing not only the renewals of the passport, they are issuing a new ID also. I think the Mexican consulates probably issue what you call the word matricular.
Matricular, yeah, consular matricular.
They issue an ID card also. But not only that, you look at this way. President Obama, since he has become a president, he has been coming with administrative programs with the DACA and the DAPA, right, and provisional waiver and everything to accommodate people who are unlawfully in the US somehow to help them out, right, so they can live there, work there and live their lives. So this is a whole different ball game. I think probably what happened at some point, this policy went into effect. But nobody has really carefully gone through and seen what has been happening around the country. The US government no longer wants to punish those people. They are accommodating them, help them. Now,
exactly,
as a matter of fact, how to give them some whatever we can. So maybe if the leadership contacts the concerned authorities, maybe they can change the policy and then make it possible for them. But in the meantime, some advice to this person is, we just found out recently that there are some states in the U.S., California is one of them, and
Vermont is
Vermont is
another,
one of
yeah.
them. So you have to see if you can go to one of those states.
Right, because in those states, what they'll do is they will allow you to get married.
Without
and you
ID.
don't have to show, right, exactly. The ID maybe only has to be shown by the U.S. citizen as opposed to the foreign national. And that way you can get a bona fide marital certificate and then use that for the rest of the case. Exactly.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
well,
you.
thank you
I
so
hope
much.
that your person who asked the question will be happier to know at least what the background is and what they can do.
I hope that they are happy with the result and
Yes.
ultimate result. But it was obviously took a little legal research on your part to be able to advise them properly.
By the way, somebody told me also, I think there is a Supreme Court decision as well on this subject. This is 1976 Sukhwinder Singh or something like that.
Okay.
That maybe one of the things that to consider. That says, the decision says that a U.S. Indian citizen has a right to hold the passport.
Okay. Huh.
So
that's
hopefully, if they go to the central government, maybe they will issue a new memorandum or a policy change.
maybe they'll take heed of what's going on.
Exactly.
So while we're on policy,
around sitting there in the old laws in the British period, also they made so many laws. That still slowly they have been coming, and still there are certain things that are still on the books that are old maybe. Until very recently, homosexuality was a crime in India. You can go to jail for 5 years.
Right.
But
I remember
with
that,
the changes happening, the laws also get changed, the regulations also get changed, and So this again, let me just bypass this. I don't want to bypass this issue. The question of changes come in here. The polygamy. Polygamy is also a crime in India, still.
Okay.
But many places now in U.S. homosexuality, right, is now accepted. Same-sex marriages are okay.
Right.
Transgender are now okay. Right? It's okay. There are crimes in most of the countries, and most of the countries have passed, keep on changing, as you see. Every month or 2 months, see, this country has done it, that country has done it, Ireland has done it. So this question was raised, will it be possible that ultimately even the polygamy may not be considered as a crime, and that could happen? I'm just article on New York Times yesterday or today, which nicely explained how the things change. And it may, but don't expect something to happen maybe another 10, 15 years, maybe 20, 30 years down the road.
Right.
Because in our viewers also, there are a lot of people, Muslims for example, they are permitted to have more than one wife. And actually also, in US also, there is a state where they can have
Utah. Yeah.
Right. So they can have more
Religious
than
purposes,
So basically, it may be
That's
possible.
a religious vestige.
Yeah. So if you ever got a Muslim friend and I got some clients actually who said, I have 2 wives. One I brought, one is still sitting back in Pakistan. I say, well, the problem is the polygamy is not permitted and it's not possible now.
Exactly.
But if they wait another 15, 20, 30 years,
Never know.
Never know.
know. Well, let's turn to another potential policy change. Let's talk about the e-visa, because whenever we're talking about policy changes and catching up with reality, Pakistan has an investor visa.
Bangladesh.
Sri Lanka has an investor visa. Bangladesh has an investor visa, and we do E2 visas for individuals from these countries all the time. Not India.
No, see, why they don't have it? Because it's a treaty. E-visa is based upon a treaty of trade or commerce.
Correct.
So those countries have entered into a treaty with the U.S. government. It's reciprocal. You cannot have one way.
That's right.
Right? So if, let us say, if India...
But why not India?
No, I say, now we'll talk about what may happen now. But all these years, the previous government or the policies, the Indians were reluctant to give them the same reciprocal deal. That, okay, you open up, have a treaty, but you should also give the same benefit to our U.S. citizens who want to go to India and open an office there.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. Of course, it makes sense. I see each government, each political issue, the whole politics has worked here.
Yeah.
Democrats, Republicans. There also the previous party or the political, game was that they were worried about the Indian business community or something by opening up. They may affect their business. It was just, I'm saying.
Whatever happened to the free market?
I had actually one of the U.S. ambassador to India was a few years ago in a Chamber of Commerce, and I was luckily there in India. So I got up and I talked to the ambassador. I told him I'm an immigration attorney, and this is the question. Now he, of course, he did not know. You know, the ambassador don't know the all immigration law also. But he says, I'll check on that. But if that is the case, probably in his opinion, that may be happening because the Indian government might not have. U.S. government is always, in most cases, willing to do that, and that can only be done by legislature. And the president cannot do himself. But at least what you and me were talking about, that we are in the process of completing a memorandum, detailed memorandum that has to be submitted by the Indian community leader and organizations to the Prime Minister Modi, and also we informal, and we already talked with the staff. We were in Ahmedabad once. We did talk to somebody, and they were very, very excited at that point. Before he was the Prime Minister, they say, "You guys wait 3-4 days here, and then we can meet Prime Minister Modi too."
And they're asking us to come in the fall.
But we had already lectures scheduled in other cities. It was not possible for us to cancel the lectures.
Unfortunately,
so we did that. So what I'm saying, I talked to some other people also. They are more like, you talk to people in Gujarat, I talk to people, they are very excited. They want it done. So I have a very strong feeling that going forward, that this may happen, because our ambassador, US ambassador in India, Mr. Verma, is in Delhi. And when we go next, I told you, we'll be meeting him also and presenting him a memorandum. We hope our efforts will then be successful. And the treaty is done, then you can talk more about e-visas. What happens?
Exactly. And I think
now what happened? Treaty is done now.
Oh, well, if the treaty's done, of course, then what we do is we help. Well, what we'll do is we'll help individuals who are in the United States and obviously this still goes for Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankans. You form an LLC, a limited liability company. You open a bank account, you do all the tax work for that company, and then you make an investment in that company. What is the investment number? It depends upon the type of business that it is. No, it's not a million. It's not an EB-5. This is different.
Correct.
So what you're talking about
is...
And
no 10 creation of 10 jobs.
And you don't have to create 10 jobs.
Correct.
What it is just an investment.
Yes.
And the investment depends upon what the business is. So they
also
use
some job creation is there. Because there was a question...
Well, there's an expectation of job creation.
So, no, I remember some case was there, a guy wanted to buy a big one truck, huge truck. And he was investing $150,000. But truck was not helping anybody except him only. But if even a small business, they have 2 or 3 employees they hire. And they manage the business, as not just driving a car.
Right. The idea is that there's an expectation over time. And the way that expectation is proven is utilizing what's called a business plan, which it has to be very precise, very well done, and very, everything has to be meticulously thought out when you present the business plan to the government.
I don't think there's any quota for e-cases.
As far as I know, there is not.
So, how many people you think will come from India on e-visas?
Quite a few.
Quite a few?
At least, I think quite a few. I think
big number, very big number.
That's right, huge number.
$200,000-$300,000 they invest, they don't have to create 10 jobs, open a small business. They'll just be they're already very excited.
Most of our Indian clients are doing just that anyway, but they're doing it a different way. They're using the intra-company transfer, new company L's, to do the same exact thing. Yeah. So whether you do it through new company L or you do it through the E2, it's basically the same thing. So same concept.
Another question I came from a traveler who travels frequently, were very frustrated. Anyway, whenever I come to US, I go through this. I'm afraid in the plane. I'm going to get off. I have to face the CBP people. They can send me back from the airport only. They can put me in a secondary inspection. Always worried about this thing. Why is that so? Why they should be worried? There must be some reasons. There must be.
They're afraid of being turned around and sent back.
But I'm saying the reasons is basically because they are CBP is looking at certain things.
Okay.
Right? So people should know, people want to know what is that they are looking for in me. One thing is, of course, security. Some people are on security list. Right?
And non-immigrant intent.
Non-immigrant intent.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a previous fraud. Anything in the background of that person that warrants there are maybe 30 or 35 grounds of excludability. It could be a previous crime. It could be a previous 9B, the overstay in the US. It could be even, that, David, probably some of our viewers don't understand. Your father, mother, brother, sister submit coming on a visitor visa here, right? They get 6 months, right?
Right, exactly.
They have a 10-year multiple visa. Oh, but they just stay 2 days more. What happens?
Then the visa is void.
10-year visa is
221G,
Cancel.
visa is void automatically by operation of law,
Yeah.
and they start to accrue unlawful presence.
And no, but accrue won't happen in 2 days. But when they go to the consulate, apply again, the consul is very reluctant to issue. You stayed 6 months and you overstayed. Sorry,
Exactly.
214B, 214B,
right.
214B. But there may be some circumstances. There's a person got very sick, was in a hospital. He couldn't leave. He had to stay another 10 days before he could get out of the hospital. Now, that may be a good reason for consul to consider issue a new visa stamp. So these
Possibly,
are
yeah.
some, I mean, a lot of people are worried. They are looking at the Kennedy Airport, Newark, we're going to get out, what the question they're going to ask, what I have to say, what they have to see.
Exactly. Proper coaching, no substitute for proper coaching.
That is
Michael, I think we're coming to the end of our show.
Yeah.
But I know that the viewers probably have many, many more questions, and they obviously are looking to us for our guidance. So when we come back next week, we'll have an opportunity to share some additional information with them.
Always time runs out some program we should just do a big, huge, maybe 6-8 hours marathon that we keep on talking. Well, we plan to, actually the studio has requested us that we should do 1 or 2 live programs where people can ask us live questions on the program. So we consider that. Thank you very much, David. And
Thanks
thank
so
all
much,
of you for
Michael.
watching the program. And goodbye.
Bye for now.